On you?
Somewhere. Good morning. It's Friday. It's freezing Friday.
It's freezing Friday over here.
That it's freezing where she is. And I'm like, no, freezing is 32. What temperature are you at?
I don't know. Daryl, what temperature are we at? Daryl's looking it up now.
Andrew Vitale says there.
We're at 0.
He's at 17 below or something.
Who is?
Andrew Vitale, who's been on this show.
Oh, yeah. He's a couple hours north of us. 3 hours.
Chicago is freezing. Our friends from Wisconsin who were on here are freezing. This is that morning, is it not?
Yeah. And where was I last week? It was unseasonably warm in Lincoln City and north of Lincoln City. It was wonderful. You know, a couple things. My computer cords were the ones that were not working last week. So what I did was a little limited, but I was looking things up for you and I for talking about loneliness, and I have a loneliness talk coming up. And a couple things I want to say. You sent me a book called The Swedish Art of Aging Exuberantly.
Yes.
And in there she talks about her other book that she wrote. What was she, 80 or something?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's The Swedish Art of Dying Exuberantly. Mm-hmm. Or death cleaning. And she talks about death cleaning, which you can start when you're 20 and not collect so much stuff.
Yeah, right? That gets ahead of the game.
It's get ahead of the game. One of the things was cleaning out your pantry of things that are out of date.
Yes.
And how many of us hang on to bottles and mustards and other things? You know, if it has vinegar in it, I'm more likely to keep it a little past the date.
Yeah.
And if it's been canned, yes, but not a lot, because things start to disintegrate, especially in water. And
we've been exceptionally careful in the last year about cleaning out, not buying and using what's there before thinking about going to get more.
Do you think that's because of everything you had to clean out from your mom?
Yes.
Right.
She had my mom was a Depression baby. My dad grew also up in the Depression. We grew up as the children of Depression parents, and that mentality gets passed along.
It does.
It really does. It's way generational. And we kept finding things in cabinets that we, basically had ignored, never even opened, and there were more canned goods.
Do you know, I think it's grief related, because one, when you have to clean out that stuff, you become a little more sensitive to not collecting stuff. However, it's also a mentality, not just from depression era time and learning that from your parents. I think it's just hard to let go. One of the caretakers I worked with last week said, did this person have problems with hoarding food? And not really. It's more like, I just can't let go of it because, and I told
you,
a friend of mine, Vicky's husband died, and the thing he was most famous for was making a barbecue sauce. And I confided to Vicky, and he died real suddenly, 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. And I said, I just want to confess to you that that I cannot make myself throw that out yet. And it's only got like that much in it. It'll probably have to get moldy before I
Toss it.
And I just still like seeing it in the refrigerator. And I don't have a problem with hoarding food. I don't have a problem with any of that. Steve just found a can from 2017. And thanks, Steve. And, it's just interesting. I'm going to have to go through that. We did it at the beginning of COVID, Daryl and I, because we totally cleaned the refrigerator. How about you? What are you holding up, or you're not doing it as much, you said?
I have been really careful about it. I'm now spending Sunday night cleaning out old stuff from the fridge so that we're not like, okay, those are leftovers, we might use them. No, if I'm not going to throw it in the dog's food tomorrow, it's going out.
Right.
Or if it's not packaged for me to take to lunch tomorrow, it goes out. It's no longer, well, we might be able to use for, if there are vegetables that we're definitely not going to use, I will call my neighbor Wendy and say, are you making a pot of soup?
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's not worth it to have that in it. Now we do have a cluttered house because we have a tiny house.
Yeah.
And we have stuff from dead people here. And I'm gradually going through all of that and trying to be done with whatever I can, because it's overwhelming and it's unnecessary. And
Right.
after a few years, you can say, okay, I probably don't need that. There are a few things I've held on to. Mostly for me, it's pictures. And I've decided that's the thing I'm not going to apologize for.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
right.
the pictures stay, but other stuff, I have maybe 3 shelves of books where I used to have a room full because I've read them. I can read them online. I can share them with other people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to keep them here.
Sometimes you need books to lift up your computer. And
Yes.
I have The Last Dance, Encountering Death and Dying, from graduating from the certified thanatology class from ADEC.
That's why I have the DSM.
Oh, see? Yes.
Perfect for that. And you have to have that book anyway, so it does a dual purpose. But
yeah,
it is stuff that belongs to people, but it's, I have some jewelry,
right.
Not tons. We just have a itty bitty house and there's not enough space for everything. I am struggling with getting rid of linens because I have, the quilts made by. And so I'm starting to just use them.
Yes.
And yes, they're antiques, but my kids aren't going to want them. So there's no point in keeping them just because they're antiques. So they're out.
Mm-hmm. I'm at that point, especially as Daryl and I talk about moving to a place with no stairs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something. I wanted to talk about another book that I went through and looked at. And if you get it from Thrift Books. Get yourself did you already order it?
I already have it. It arrived yesterday. Healing Improv. Yes.
Yeah. And there is one line in here that I really appreciate. And he talks about his first time going, let me explain to our audience.
Yeah, you need to.
This Bart Summer is, he wrote the book Healing Improv, and a journey.
He's got some great YouTube videos too. You can actually hear some of his improv.
Oh, that's good. That's good. A journey through grief to laughter. And so as I was reading through the book, grief stories, as you and I have heard many, many times. But the part I really appreciated was as he was driving to going back to work, and he was doing a show, and he couldn't imagine himself. He does comedy and he does, other things. And because of the time it was, he said, I just can't imagine tonight. It felt sort of wrong and weird, making jokes about, say, Britney Spears and some other person. That was the topic at the time. And he asked for a sign, and this shooting star went across the sky. And then he went in and he says, I can't remember what we did, but I know I had, and I want to quote this, I can't tell you what I did that night on stage. I know there were laughs and it felt good to get that nourishment from strangers, which I always crave. But something else happened, something wonderful. In the 90 minutes I was on stage doing improv, I was released from grief that had been hounding me. It didn't go away for good. As soon as the show was over, it came back. But for those 90 minutes, being in the moment, listening to others and reacting, the art of improv demanded that I not think of anything outside of where we were. And he goes on and he says, for those brief 90 minutes, I got a vacation from grief.
From the grief, right.
And, it's hard to explain to people, right, when it's a vacation from grief, until you've ever
deeply grieved,
you don't realize
that you need a break.
Those little things, as I was arranging healthcare and making sure things were organized before I left from a friend of 46 years, and sort of pre-grieving what's to come.
Right.
And grieving our relationship that isn't the same. Every morning I still had coffee and watched the sunrise.
Yes, you did. Thank you for the pictures.
And really noticed the colors, which I'm sure I missed for 2 years because of cataracts. I didn't know that these colors were there. Or I'd forgotten. It was really weird. So, Jill, when did you realize that you had brief vacations from some of your grief? Or what was it that you remember poignantly?
Sunset. Sunset was my break time. That gave me about 5 solid minutes of, I just need to stand in the awe. Mm-hmm. And I need to share it with somebody who's alive. Because at first, after that it's the first sunset when they're not alive. It's the first sunrise when they're not here. Right. Mm-hmm. And we all connect to that to some degree, I think.
Right.
But then it becomes, this is my sunset, and it's putting some peace to the end of my day. Mm-hmm. When I was able to laugh at a movie, and I'm not a good movie watcher. I'm really not. I'm a movie watcher who has to play solitaire because I just can't sit and let my brain just focus on one little thing.
Right.
That is impossible for me. And I totally own and accept that. And couple of meals out, mostly just laughing about silly stuff, being able to get in the car with the kids and sing songs or poke fun at them a little bit. It was those moments that it's like, you got to remember the funny parts and you got to share them. So sharing the story about Linda being trapped outside in the jacuzzi, with the rattlesnake between her and the glass door, and her clothes were inside, right? And calling me on the phone at work and me putting the phone on speaker as I blasted out that she was stuck naked outside in the spa with a 6-foot rattlesnake. That kind of thing. when you can finally laugh, and I can share that story because she's not here to get mad about it. Those things can do that for me. We saw Theresa Caputo this weekend.
Yes, I'm hoping to hear about it.
She does do some stand-up kind of stuff. She also dresses like she is the most glittery person I have ever seen. And she's about this big. She's tiny. And I've seen her once before, but this was a heavy show. There were people there with not just deaths, they were there with horrific tragedies. And she sets things up at the beginning, and she says there will be laughter. Because when we are recalling the dead people, when we're talking to dead people, we have to be able to give ourselves a break. And you have to laugh. You cannot survive grief if you can't laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely appreciated her saying that. There were some ripples around the room as usual with people who are like, yeah, but this is sad. No, you got to be able to laugh.
Right.
And she was able to do that with murder survivors, a suicide survivor, an Afghanistan war veteran, and she was able to bring laughter to their moments of remembering and deep grief and connecting. And I think that just says so much about you have to have the laughter or you can't survive. And each and every one of them said the same thing. And one of them was a woman who had a sister who was kidnapped and then viciously murdered by multiple people, unsolved. And she was still able to laugh a little bit during the course of the interaction. That says that you need that to get through even the hardest moments.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And we need to acknowledge that and support people in that.
And, I think that's one of the reasons why you and I came together to do this program, because we know how to weave that in.
Right.
More importantly, I think we've learned more over our years, but we know it's important to weave that in. Not
Absolutely.
so much we can do it, but we know that is part of grieving.
Right.
And there is a time and a place. I mean, one of my camp kids, who's now in her 20s, the first thing she said to somebody else, can you get a hold of Daisy? And I called her, and her mama just died that morning. I'm not making, trying to, well, let's think of the positive things. No, this all sucks. This is horrible. And it's all horrible. I mean, the news and everything. So, yeah.
And you can give someone grace for saying it is all horrible, and you can hold them up.
Yes.
And then you can stand with them as they go through the process of all of the things.
That's right. That's right.
For the murder survivor who was holding on to lots of stuff and had apparently put her life on hold trying to figure out how to solve what appears to be an unsolvable crime. The message that was put out was there are times when the resolution to something like that is that you're still here and you still have a memory to carry and you have good things about them to think about, and they're in a safer place. And that is the best we're going to get from it. So we have to take that and make that work. And there's your ampersand, and you still have to go on and do things with your life. Or you can sit in it and it will destroy your life.
So on the plane, I'm watching movies, right? And both of them were about grief.
Of course they were.
Of course they were. You would think I'd want to watch a comedy, but no, these were two, like, how am I going to pull this together? I think it's called Winter's Bone, and it's with Emma Thompson. I think it was made this year. And she is a widow. I'm not going to talk about all of it. I'll give like a little trailer version. She is grieving her husband that had died, I'm not sure when, but previously, so many years. And she also, at the same time as she's making this trip to honor him, to ice fishing, she has to rescue this one girl that's been kidnapped by a crazy person.
Mm-hmm.
And the things she says to the younger generation, this young woman, about you just keep fighting till the end. You just keep going. And then one of the last scenes is you see Emma Thompson, her character, just be at peace with what's happening. I don't want to give too much away, but it's so important to really just put one foot in front of another. I mean, that's what she was
going.
saying.
You just keep effing going.
Even when you feel like you cannot go on. And especially you and I know people who have had a child that died. Or let's not just say like a baby or an 8-year-old, a 20-year-old, a 40-year-old, whoever is your child, and they die before you do. That's not the way it's supposed to work. Right? Yeah. So
I appreciated, the other thing I appreciated from that, well, there were several things. We had there was someone sitting in the middle area right near me, and there was another grief therapist right behind me who self-identified as a grief therapist. I do not say those words out loud when I am out in public. I work for the grocery store. I'm the world's best checker, and I mop floors, and that is what I do. But when as a therapist survival tool, she identified, but this one person was the half an hour before things started, she started crying. She cried through the whole thing. She never came out of it. Her glasses got progressively darker as she kept. She was alternatively drawing attention to herself and demonstrating how deep her grief was, and demonstrating that she was not looking for ways to cope. She was there to just sort of lay it on folks, and literally her entire row relocated themselves halfway through. They just all left and went to other seats. And at the end, I looked at her and she was still doing it. And I looked behind me at the other grief therapist and I said, I'm a little concerned. And she said, me too. She said, but we're off duty.
Right.
And she's got staff. And so we melted into that crowd because this was someone who was not looking for keeping going.
Right. She just wanted to. Yeah.
Right. The other thing I appreciated was an image tool that she used, which was when you are dealing with a loss, you don't have, because she talks about people bringing stuff from dead people to try and surprise her with, to see if that will, make them come out faster. She's like, we don't need to hold on to stuff, folks. That goes back to your Swedish death cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
You can put all that stuff literally in a suitcase.
Mm-hmm.
And put it away. We don't need to carry it around with us. We've got them. We don't need to surround ourselves by it. That is suffocating.
The joke has always been, it's not a joke. When Daryl's mom died, the thing I wanted most was this little frog that sat in her kitchen and held her sponge. That's what that reminded me of.
Mm-hmm.
And
My Aunt Pat, who was my most beloved aunt, she was single and she doted on us and my dad's only sister. And she collected ceramic cats, all kinds of ceramic cats, big ones, little ones. And they literally lined the floor in her entry hall in her house in Florida and then lined the piano. They went everywhere. And I have one because I didn't need them all. I have one and it's precious to me. I look at it just rarely. I don't need them all. It's not necessary. Right?
And no. I have a lot of pop-ups. Hang on to say her family gave me all the stuff and yeah, I know. Hang on one moment while I get rid of that. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
You're back.
It's still being weird. Sorry, my computer.
It's okay. You know what? You are in the middle of the deepest freeze and you, yeah. Whatever. I'm glad you're here. I thought you wouldn't make it. I thought the power would be out.
No. But anyway, I really, I put them all in this one cabinet and I'm about ready to just, nobody's going to want them around here. I could give these figurines around, but nobody's going to want them. And, I'm about ready to take suitcase full of stuff to either a consignment or just hide.
You can do stealth gifting.
Yes, I've been doing a lot of that too. I really have.
Stealth gifting is good.
Yes.
And there's also, if someone has an office they need to decorate and they need a few things on the shelves to fill them in.
Yeah.
Some of my stuff has gone to our new office because we have lots of bookshelves. And so some of those things are interspersed with the other books and things on the shelves. Lots of ways to do things.
Yes. Yeah.
And then when a young person gets an apartment, they get a full box of knickknacks. It's like a starter box because everyone should have a starter box of knickknacks and kitsch stuff.
Steph, maybe I said this, my stepdaughter, Daryl's daughter, she said, what do you do with these kinds of things? And she says, we have china to just give away. I go, well, start using it. Or, in 2 more years, Claire's going to be in college. And
it goes to college.
Start her off with plates and silverware. Can you see me? Can you still see me?
Yes, I can.
It's being weird again. I apologize.
We sent my mom's china to my nephew.
All right. Well,
Isaac,
if you can see me, I'll just talk to the screen.
Yes, we can see you. Yeah, we sent off the china. We use our good dishes. We got rid of the Corel and we use our good dishes because there's just no point, right? And I know lots of people when someone has died, they make the memorial wall, and I like memorial walls. I think they're important, but I think there also comes a time where you either turn it into everybody, or you start to dismantle it. Like it's time to paint, and then you just put it back up. Because we have to go on to the end. And we have to take them with us in a different way. Still talk to them, still make them part of life, but they don't have to literally surround us. Right?
Right. I totally agree. And I'm like, what would I take to a smaller space? And I like certain paintings and stuff so I can have all different cultures. The paintings are important to me. Some of the craft is important to me. And after that, well, I'm going to be able to get rid of a bunch of craft at our talk. So I'm very excited.
That's right. Yeah, Ian says he's just dismantled the one in his house, and he's talking about getting rid of the china And Steve is using mom's china. Exactly. Use the stuff.
Use
It
it.
doesn't make sense to have stuff that nobody touches,
Mhm.
right? I have to take my own little pot to go take care of my sister in 2
Mhm.
weeks because I am not a kosher individual. So I'm taking
Yes.
a non-kosher pot to cook my non-kosher food in. And
Yeah.
I'm just going to chuck it in the trash when I leave because it's a used up little pot. And we don't need to be transporting old pots back home again. It stays there.
You know, I brought a pair of shoes that I knew I was going to get rid of. And
Yeah.
guess what? I found the heel of that shoe in the rental car, and I went, "Oh, I didn't see that last night." And so I took the shoes, bring
Mhm.
stuff that you can throw away on a vacation. You don't need it.
Right. There's actually
Yep.
at the hotel where we stay in Arizona, we now have our hotel for going to visit my daughter. And there is a ginormous thrift store there. I'm just going to start throwing extra stuff in the car. And then when we are there, I'm just going to drop it in their drop box because I somehow never find time around here. But I have time when I'm over
Right.
there. And away it'll go.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Yep.
Now,
Yeah, I
next
should
week we
start
have a
shopping.
guest, right? We have an author
Yes.
guest. Yes. So we'll
An
post all
author
of that
guest.
stuff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you is there a advertisement yet?
There will be an advertisement this weekend. My Chloe, who does the advertisements, is has been wrapped up with a sick 3-year-old.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, she called out tired from work the other day.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So good thoughts for Chloe and my little Oliver.
Yes.
So
Yes.
she'll get that done for us over the weekend while we are celebrating my Carrie's 34th birthday.
Wow. Doesn't it seem odd when your kids start turning those numbers?
All of my kids are in their 30s. Yes. And
Wow.
I've got a grandson in double numbers. It does feel very odd.
It
I know you're
is.
ahead of me on that, but it does feel odd.
It is odd. It is.
Mhm.
Wow. Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching. And thank you ahead to people who will be watching later. And another good
We'll
time with
see you
you, Jill.
next week with our guest. We'll post it about it. Shabbat Shalom for those celebrating, and happy weekend for the rest of us. And if you're in the deep freeze, please stay warm and put your shoes on your dogs and keep them inside. Nobody should be outside in the cold.
Yes. And for those that are rocked in this political environment,
take care of yourself
to feel grounded and sane.
I do have to say congrats to Minneapolis folks for figuring out you pour water on the sidewalks in front of people, and that will sometimes help with these things. It helps with the cleanup.
It helps with the cleanup. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
See you next week.